Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sarah from Handmade After Dark. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia, and welcome to my mini catalogue launch day 2. So the 2026 January to April mini catalogue has just launched, and there is also a new lot of online exclusives that have just launched at the same time. So I'm doing 4 days of videos where I'm going to take you through, each day I'll take you through one of the suites or the bundles, make a card with that bundle, and then potentially show you either some sneak peeks of upcoming classes, or maybe some of the other products as well. So today's video is the lovely and beautiful suite collection. So I'll switch my camera around, and this is a large suite. So this one has 2 stamp and die bundles. So we have the Simply Beautiful stamp set. So you've got some flowers and leaves, sentiments. This one is really good for weddings. And then you have the dies. I'll take these out. So you can die cut this flower, you can die cut and that smaller one as well, same with the leaves, but then you've also got some die cuts that you can use on their own to create some textured flowers and leaves. And then the other one is the Beautifully Celebrated bundle. So the stamp set is this one. So again, this one's really good for weddings and other celebrations, like large events sort of thing. So you've got some sentiments and some leaves and little embellishments. The dies, I really like the dies because you get a whole bunch of label dies. And these are always really, really handy. So you've got a whole bunch of layering dies, and then the leaves from the stamp set you can die cut, and then you've got a couple of other extra little embellishments that you can cut out. And then, so there's quite a lot in this suite. There is also the vellum. So it is the where is it? The Beautifully Adorned Ephemera pack, and so there are 6 vellum sheets in total. You get 2 each of 3 different designs. So I have used some of these already. So you've got, find somewhere I haven't actually used the ones I want to show first. You've got some gold foil flowers. You've got the leaves, the sort of outline. You've got outline flowers, full gold leaves. You've got some frames, little embellishments, sort of background images. You've got some tags, labels, little corner pieces. So this set is, so as I said, it's really good for weddings. It's also really good for scrapbooking, particularly these, the vellum ephemera. These can be really good for scrapbooking pages, which they've got some examples on the following pages. So really useful for that, and I think it goes, yeah, one more page. So these are the dies that I mentioned before, the ones that you can use on their own. So you just die cut a few of them, layer them up, and you don't need to stamp at all for those ones. And so the card that I'm going to make today is actually, I'm casing the catalogue. So I'm essentially making this one just with some very minor changes. And so as you can see on here, so these are the vellum pieces. We're actually going to colour on the vellum with the Stampin' Blends. And I'll just show you the paper, because it's a specialty paper pack. And as you can see, I've already cut into it quite a bit, but we have, so one side is just sort of like patterned without the gold. The other side has gold elements on it as well. So this one is, got quite a lot, and you can color these images, and then some of them have more sort of just the gold accents, and then non-gold on the other side. Let's bring out some more. So we've got the green, this one's got the gold on the back, this floral one, and so you've got lots with sort of really large floral images, which again, really good for scrapbooking, but can absolutely be used for card making as well. And I think, what else do we have? So we've got the small with gold, and I think that is about it. I think I've shown all of the designs there. Yep. Alrighty. So let's put this back, and I'll also show you after we've done the card, I will show you a sneak peek of the projects from an upcoming weekly class that I'll be doing in a few weeks' time. So, the ribbon. We also have this white and gold ribbon, which is really nice. I've used this quite a bit already. I will be using something different on the card that I'm going to show you though. Now, once I find my card kit, there we go, and I might actually need the base once I find all my pieces. Don't need the squirrel. That's from previous class. So, Fresh Freesia card base. Now, if you are not already on my email list, if you head over to my blog, which is handmadeafterdark.com.au, sign up to my email list. I will be sending out full tutorials for all of the projects that I show, so the ones I make, not the sneak peek ones, but so the 4 projects from the catalogue launch, I will be sending full tutorials for those out to those who are on my email list. So make sure you're on that so you can get those. And also, so later this month, I'll be doing a birthday bonanza series. So that will be 6 projects, 1 video per day. And again, I'll be sending out full tutorials for the 6 projects from that series. And you also then get the recipe cards that I send out for my Funfold Friday and Thursday Tech series. So lots of different tutorials and recipe cards and other fun stuff for anyone who is on my email list. And there will be videos for the Birthday Bonanza series too. So you'll get the video link and also the tutorial. So some bubble bath cardstock, the designer series paper, and then one of the die cuts from the, what was it called, beautifully celebrated bundle. So that's just in basic white to stamp the sentiment, one of the vellum pieces, and then I've got some of the, no, I don't need, oh yes, actually I do need all of those. So I've got a few of the vellum pieces, and we are going to color those, and not doing anything fancy with the coloring, just going to add some granny apple green, so a bit of dark and a bit of light. And I might actually just grab another piece of grid paper that is a little less use, if I can find one, this one's not much better, but slightly, just so it's a bit easier to see what I'm doing for this one. So try not to throw my blends around. We have dark and we have light, and so I'm just going to add and you can just color right over the gold, so I'm not doing anything fancy. We're just add some color. Because it's vellum, you may want to go over a few spots a few times so it doesn't blend as cleanly as cardstock, but it kind of works, just adds to the effect. So don't worry if it's not perfect, just go over it until you're happy with it. And having said that, I probably need to replace this particular blend. It's starting to run out. Time for a new one. I think they do run out, so I think this is a good indication that it's probably time for a new one. I do use Granny Apple Green a lot, but we're just going to add some color and give it a bit of time to let the colors settle before you sort of go overboard adding color. So add some, move on to the next one, and then come back, add a bit more if you think you need to. So we'll leave that one, and then we'll do this one. So I'm just adding a little bit of dark and then blending in with the light. Whether or not you do light then dark then light or dark then light it's largely personal preference. Also depends how dark you want it. If you're doing something where you want to use the dark to add a little bit of dimension, but you don't want the overall color too dark, then it can be better to go add the dark first, so add the highlights where you want them, and then go over and blend in with the light. Just means that if you're only doing the one layer of the light rather than two, then your overall color isn't quite so dark. So just consider how dark you want the finished image to be before you decide, and then go from there. And remember, you can always add more. If it ends up that it's not quite dark enough, you can always go back and add more. Alrighty, let's see how that is looking. I'm not too worried about the stem of this one. So it's not particularly dark, but that's not too bad. I do think I want it a little darker, so I'm going to go over. I'm actually going to blend in a bit with the dark, and we'll just see how that looks. Just because it is about time, I think, to replace that light blend. So we'll just add little bit more, see how this looks. And let's add some to the others while we let that rest. Add some extra colour to these. And we'll see how they look. You can also heat emboss on these vellum pieces, which I have done in one of my weekly classes. So I'm going to heat emboss on one of the frames from this set. Though actually that actually may be one of my club cards. I am going to be using this bundle for one of my Happy Mail Card Club months, so I think that will be Feb. Now let's see how these are looking. Let's come with this one because this was the first one. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Alrighty, now that's done, so let's just put those to the side. Oh, we should stamp. Let's do that. Now for this one I'm using the Thinking of You sentiment, but it's all one long line, but I don't want it all in one line. I want the thinking on one line and of you underneath. So Highland Heather ink, and I'm going to just ink up the first part, just making sure that I do get all of the image, and just make sure I haven't got anything I don't, although it's not too much of an issue if I do get a bit of it stamped, because for this one I am going to be fussy cutting, so it's not a massive issue because it will probably end up being cut out. So stamp that, and just to be on the safe side I will clean that off just in case, and then this time we're just going to ink up the second part, so the of you, and again just make sure we don't have anything where we don't want it, and that is going to sit underneath. There we go. Probably could have been a little bit higher, but it's good enough. Alrighty, now we're going to, so I'm just going to fussy cut around this, so apologies that you have to sit and watch me fussy cut, but we are just going to trim around. And for those who are not particularly experienced with fussy cutting, or just don't like it, don't do a lot of it. The main thing to remember is to move the paper or the cardstock rather than the scissors. You'll get much better lines. There's always times where you do need to cut or move the scissors, but you want to try and move the cardstock instead wherever possible, and we just need to tidy up a little bit here. And just trim up some of those corners because I can be a little bit pedantic. And I need that one a little closer. And I think we're just about good to go. Tiny bit more of here. And that should be good enough. Alrighty. Let's put that over there. And then, now this one has a fairly narrow border, so I'm going to go with my liquid glue just because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room so I can adjust the paper if I don't get it quite right. Just got a little bit of time to move stuff around. Alrighty. So, narrow border on each side. And I think that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. Oh, nope, there, yep, there we go. That's better. Now, I am using so I'm not using the white and gold, I'm actually using the Bubble Bath faux linen ribbon. So this is from the new Mini. This is, as you can see, it's very narrow. So normally I would use tear and tape to adhere my ribbon to my card. Not really going to work well with this just because it is so narrow. So what I'm going to do, and you've got a couple of options. You could use a bit of green glue, if you get a dauber, one that you keep just for using with adhesive, and dab a bit along. That is one option, but I am going to use some mini glue dots, and I'm just going to grab a few. I'm just going to roughly work out where, just want to check where it's going to be sitting because I want to make sure it sits on the front, and I'm just going to roll it up and stick it down on the ribbon. So I'll do a few of those. So just roll it between your fingers and then place it down on the back of your ribbon. Oops, throw the box away. And so I'm just going with 3, that should be enough. And then we'll flip that over. That's going to sit about there, and I'm just going to press it down, and press it down well to sort of flatten it a bit more, and then we'll flip it over and add some tear and tape at the back. Just to keep it nicely stuck down there. Alright, so that is that bit done. Now we can add this to the card front. I will take the backings off the tape so that we can make use of that adhesive, and I'm just going to use my liquid glue to adhere this. You can use liquid glue, Stampin' Seal, tear and tape, whatever your preference is for adhesive. Stick that down, and then we will adhere the die cut, and again I'm just going to use liquid glue for this one. So we just want this one bit up from the ribbon in the center. Add that down, and then we want to bring in, so we'll pop this one up on dimensionals, and we're going to have the smaller leaves down the bottom and the longer one up the top. So these ones will sit flat. I just like to work out where the placement is going to be. So I want the flower to be sitting, covering the die cut, but sort of fairly close to the edge, and I reckon about there. So I'm going to stick these down first, just because sometimes, and that reminds me, now this vellum is a little bit thicker, and I'm just going to wipe some of that off. If you've used vellum before, you'll know that you often can see the adhesive through, and one option that I often recommend for vellum is to use the dauber, but because these ones are coloured, I'm just going to add a small amount in the coloured sections, just because those, and you don't want it too thick, you want to keep it fairly thin. Just a little in those sections, and then down the bottom doesn't matter so much because that's going to be covered. But if you stick to those coloured areas, and don't worry if it gets a little bit out, because it's not going to be super noticeable, if at all. So we're going to stick that there. Might just tilt that over slightly. Just be mindful that it doesn't go over the edge. And then same on these ones. Add the adhesive to the sections that have been coloured. Keep it fairly thin. Not that I've done that, but you know, ideally. And then a bit on the bottom. That one's not such an issue because it's going to be underneath. I'll just move that one out of the way. And then this one. And I think I've got, oh no, it's just got a tiny bit of extra vellum popping through there, but that's all right. So we'll stick that one down. And then some, now because this is completely covered with gold, you don't have to worry about the adhesives showing through. It's not going to be an issue. So just add your dimensionals. And once we get all the backings off, eventually, come on, there we go. And stick that one down, bring that up ever so slightly, that's better. And then some dimensionals for this one. And I think I'm going to need to get some of the edge pieces just for the little narrow bits. Some people go with minimal dimensionals. I find that if I don't have enough, it sometimes ends up kind of sagging in certain spots, so I tend to go with more rather than less, but you can go with whatever works for you. That should be plenty. Just make sure with the dimensionals that you do use your or your edge pieces. They are very handy when you need when you need little thin bits. Very, very useful. Now all we need to do, actually two things. One, we're going to add a little bow. So again, just using the bubble bath ribbon, we will just and that's all tangled. I'm going to start again. That's better. Alrighty, so trim that down. Hopefully that's vaguely even. And we will use a glue dot to adhere that. line that up a little bit. There we go, that's better. And then we just need some embellishments, and I had them right here. There they are, hiding. So these are the pearlized faceted circles. So this is part of the suite. And which ones did I use? So we want one for the center of the flower. And then we will go with a small and a large one, and I think that is about all we need for that one. So we'll just fold that over. So there you go. There is that one. Now I'll give you a sneak peek of one of my upcoming classes, which uses this bundle. So I have one. This one uses those die cuts that I mentioned, the ones that you don't need to stamp. You just use the die cuts and layer them up. I've used two-tone cardstock for the leaves, so you can get different shades from the one piece of cardstock, and the sentiment is embossed with the copper embossing powder. So that is that one. And then the next one, I've used the large flower stamp and die cuts, and also the leaves. I've used that white and gold ribbon, and then this one's embossed in the gold. And then the final one uses the die cuts again. So this is the larger flower. So you've got the solid sort of backing image, which is the same as the one that you can stamp and die cut. And then I've used DSP for all three layers, just because it's the Beautiful Bouquet DSP. So you've got sort of different shades within the one pattern, and then for the leaves, for the solid leaf images, I've used the Color Family 6x6 DSP, and then added the die cuts in two-tone over the top, and then just stamped and fussy cut the sentiment, and the background is embossed with the Beautiful Pattern embossing folder. So those three are my upcoming online class to go. This one is from today, so this one I will send the tutorial out along with all the others from the launch for anyone who is on my email list. And so for those who aren't familiar with my online class, each week I do a live video, which is a class with 3 cards. And if you place an order, so $75 or more before shipping and after any Stampin' Rewards, remember this is for Australia only. If you place that order before the end of the Saturday night of that particular week, I will send you the kits to make 2 each of the 3 cards. So you'll get all the cardstock, designer series paper, any ribbon that you need, any die cuts or punches that are not part of the featured bundle I include. If it is part of the featured bundle, I don't include them, only because if you are using a different bundle, so if you don't have the bundle that I'm using but you've got something similar that you can use, sending the die cut for a different bundle isn't really going to work. But I will send the cardstock or designer series paper so you can die cut with whatever you've got. And also, so for something like the one, or either of the one that I just demonstrated, or the I'll just change be easier. So say for this particular project, so for this class, the featured bundle is the Simply Beautiful. So it's not the full suite. It is just the stamp and die set with the flowers. So this die cut is from a different bundle. It's part of the suite, but it's a different bundle. So that die cut I would include. But obviously these ones, I'll send the cardstock and you die cut from whatever you've got, either that suite or something else. But I will specify each week what the particular suite or bundle is, and if there are any exceptions, I will explain that during the class so that you know what you will or won't get. So yeah, and remember to head over to my blog, handmadeafterdark.com.au, sign up to my email list so you get the tutorials for the launch projects, the Birthday Bonanza series, the Fun for Friday, Thursday Tech projects, and any other series and events that I do throughout the year. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out and I do appreciate it. Thank you. That is all for today. I will be back tomorrow with day 3. Until then, happy crafting. Bye.